cars and Cadillacs and fucking Ross for Less filled with Mexicans. That's where I just was. I bought a meat cleaver. I bought a Tiffany blue Cuisinart meat cleaver that I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Part of me says keep it like it is and just put it in my kitchen drawer and use it in the kitchen. The other part of me, you know, says I should like carve a crude dick on the side of it and write penis chopper on the other side of it, tiger stripe the thing and throw it in the war bag. Like, seriously. You want to intimidate someone? Pull out a Tiffany blue and green tiger striped meat cleaver with the dick chopper scrolled on it and hash marks. It's my new interrogation tool. Makes a great noise, doesn't it? Anyway, my experience in Ross Dress for Less, getting my, stylish meat cleaver as they should sell there apparently. Shit you not, the entire place was full of Mexicans. And I don't mean Hispanic people. I mean citizens of the country of fucking Mexico speaking Mexican. Speaking Spanish. Like, I have nothing against Mexicans, really, other than the fact that they're not citizens of this country. And that's an issue. This is the second store in a couple of weeks that I've been in that's been like this here. They're both on I-44, middle of Tulsa. 41st and I-44, both of them. My theory on this is that basically that crowd of people at the border, they're getting through and they're working their way up. And they're buying shoes at Academy and Ross Dress for Less. Because, I don't know. They have taste, maybe, or not. I don't know. Ross Dress for Less, not so much. Academy, maybe. Academy actually has some decent shoes. Ross Dress for Less sucks. Which brings me to the point of this. If the world is going to turn into Ross Dress for Less, then why not do Texas too? 1 second. I need. That's better. My point is, with Texas too, with what we did with Texas was we sent a bunch of people into Mexico. They bought land or acquired land. Well, it's acquired more than anything. They stole it from Indians. And then they said it was theirs. And then they shot any of the Mexicans that came to take it. What I propose to you is this. Our own government is going to be rough to fight. We, to support our secessionist movement, should start moving to Mexico and forming a fucking buffer zone of people that will be more Texas. Fuck them. Like, if Mexico, the thing that's going to get this to happen for me is if Mexico fucking signs that fucking bullshit where they're in the axis of good, join that shit, motherfucker. Join it. Do it. Please, please, God, do it. If you do that, I'll have a job at the CIA tomorrow doing this. I'm not really shitting you. Like, they know I exist. They know we all exist. They've heard me give this speech a time or two, and they know where my loyalties lie. I'm programmable, and I'm expendable. And I'm cheap. Come on, guys, give me a shot. I'll take Mexico. Like, give me 40 Navy SEALs and $4 million, and I'll give you Mexico. We'll need a little bit more than that, but it'll be like, families of farmers. Not joking. The way I would spend my money for the Navy SEALs there, well, it depends. Do you have free guns from Uncle Sugar? That changes things quite a bit. If it's just $4 million flat, you can still do it. But like, if you have $4 million, I would buy like a couple of the cheapest helicopters you can get, good radios, and a whole bunch of ATV dune buggy things that just never die. I don't know what those would be. Something that you could drive 150 miles an hour on the highway and could go off-roading in. Like the special forces cars from fucking Iraq. Get a load of those and just run fucking desert ops out there, and you kill everything that moves that's not you. If you come into our territory, you die. We'll be posted, have strings of fucking barbed wire and concertina wire and landmines. Mark it as a border. And the thing I would do is I'd go in and buy up that land with families, and then kind of last minute, after most of the Mexicans were out, I'd have that Navy SEAL strike team show up on the beach and very quickly establish a series of checkpoints from that beach in an arc to wherever the U.S. border is. And I would have them put concertina wire and landmines up. The outside of it would be constantly patrolled by the fucking, little dune buggy things. Have some sort of way to get those over there. And the helicopters. And then the other side will have landmines and concertina wire and more concertina wire, probably, with signs and shit. And then another patrol of those same dudes. And you know what? Those guys, I'm guessing, like to play with guns and drive around all day. And especially for pay. I don't know how big of a beachhead we could grab. But the thing is, like, if the Mexicans sent tanks against us, couldn't probably handle that without more equipment and whatever. But like, that's probably not what they're going to do. Probably a while before the tanks show up. And like, if you really wanted to get froggy, I would have those helicopters equipped to attack. When I say buy cheap helicopters, I mean buy something that's like a I don't know, the cheapest bird that you can get that carries a decent amount of cargo, because we're going to need to strap racks to it to load rockets and guns. And like, that's the thing with a lot of this, it'd have to be paramilitary shit. We couldn't have official shit from the U.S. military at all. Uh, and that would eliminate free guns from Uncle Sugar mostly, except for the fact that they have favors around the world that could come in handy. There's places we could get guns from unofficially, probably. Like, this is the thing, is really, if Mexico decides to join this little axis of evil that's forming, I'm seriously pitching CIA, if you're listening to me, let's build Texas too and say fuck them. Like, you got a bunch of us that feel this way already. There's a bunch of people that would be hip to fucking fuck Mexico back. They're all coming here. I say we start going there. Maybe if we cause a big enough international incident, Joe Biden will have to take notice. Because, like, whatever's going on, he has very little to do with it, I think. He is there. And, like, this is the Democratic Party, the CIA, and the fucking Washington war machine that is the fucking military industrial complex looking for a fight, it looks like. And I think it's that basically a couple of those people are always looking for a fight, and the third one just went, okay, boys, we kind of shit the bed. We need to cover this up and quick. Can you get us a world war without nukes? I'm hoping they come to their senses eventually. Or at least hire me to go down and make Texas too. Like, this would be cool. Like, as far as how it would be ran or whatever, like, imagine 1950s America, but with, like, less racism. I don't know. It seems like it'd be pretty easy to run someplace better than this shit fuck. Can you actually make a decision and stand behind it? Oh, you'll do a better job than they will. Everybody that fucking leads in Washington isn't a fucking leader. They don't take responsibility for their actions. If you don't take responsibility for the bad things you do, you're never responsible for the good things you do, and then you're an ineffective leader. I've done a lot of shit. Some of it good, some of it bad, some of it real bad. I did it all. That's the difference between me and them. It's the difference between a lot of us and them. You've actually done things. These people haven't. Not really. How do you measure your life? What have they really done? They've lived in fucking cardboard boxes and shit in Washington and fucking California and New York. They've eaten at a lot of restaurants. And, like, to me, I don't consider anything that they've done to be real living. But I'm a little bit of a different person than them. Like, I was into sailing and anthropology and fucking 1,000 other things. That's like the I don't know, the sad part to me about a lot of stuff is that I don't even get to focus really on the stuff that I like because of how fucked up the world is. And, like, you'd be like, oh, well, you should just focus on the stuff you like then. No. So I did that for a while. Got worse. Got way worse. Came back and looked, and it was way worse. So much so, in fact, that I now can't look away pretty much. It was not shortly after I turned the news back on that Putin invaded the Ukraine. And right now, that shit in Taiwan's going to go to a head. We're going to war over that. China is going to do shit that is going to necessitate Taiwan going to war with them. And I don't think Taiwan can hold that alone. And Japan and Australia have a lot of reason to be invested in that fight. As do a few other countries, including us. Basically, if they go for Taiwan, it's on. If we do not go to war and they invade if they invade Taiwan and we don't go to war, holy shit, guys, we live in a different world. Flat out, we will be living in a different world, and I don't know how that goes. We will no longer be a superpower. Flat out. That's if China invades Taiwan and we do not attack, we are no longer a superpower. I think that's really what's going on here is that in yesteryear, the Soviet Union and America were superpowers, right? We collapsed the Soviet Union, and now we're collapsing, and the Soviet Union is recovering. We look to be like we might not collapse as far as they did. Depends on how many of our allies we can hold with us and how bad this gets. And if we don't collapse all the way, us and our allies might still be able to take them. In some sort of long, drawn out, protracted, Cold War gone hot kind of a thing. In a nuclear confrontation, I think we lose rather quickly to Russia. And this is my thing with Russia is I think basically they just don't want to be fucked with in their own backyard, and I can kind of appreciate that. And I would view some of what we were doing in the Ukraine as being a direct threat to the sovereignty of Russia. You can go look into that. But basically, by putting a whole bunch of money and power and weaponry in Kiev and building a strong fascist Ukrainian state, it's only so long before someone gets the bright idea to keep giving them money and troops and whatever and nukes and build them up into, hey, this new NATO member. And then all of a sudden, this new NATO member invades Russia. Well, what happened there? I don't know. It couldn't be that the whole goal the whole time was to take down Russia and to bring it into the fold under a new government that we control. Nah, couldn't be that at all. I'm not saying that Russia's good. All I'm saying is that in reality, it's much, much, much better for you and I that Putin has a bunch of nukes and is negotiating with these fucking rich fucks at the World Monetary Fund and the fucking global bank and shit like that. Like, in reality, as much as I hate China and Russia for some of what they do, what they're doing right now by fucking holding these people's fucking feet to the fire, they're doing the thing that we can't. Apparently, like, we as a nation refuse to actually give a goddamn fuck about this. And at some point, our refusal to do that starts affecting other people. This is, in short, what's going on. And I kind of pitched that really either way, whether we're CIA sanctioned or not, we should do a Texas too. Come on, like Cuba? Cuba's ripe for the taking. Communism has made them soft. Their cars are from the 1950s. I would like to go to Cuba as a liberator, but somehow I don't think it'd go down that way. It'd be cool to have our own island, although there is that whole hurricane thing. The island nation has its advantages. The other option for that, that's crazy. I'm not even sure I should voice that one. Let's not voice that one. Could always go with Duke's favorite option, which is Escape from New York, where we, take down all the bridges and just have that be our fucking like criminal paradise or whatever. It's where things are headed. Like eventually, California and New York will be like these wastelands where nobody lives. In the ghetto. I have a crazy what if for you. What if the mass shooters are the Taliban? Think about it. If you really wanted to radicalize people or whatever somehow and give them a target here, like what do Americans love more than their children? That was the thing I got talking to Honda for so long. Is he really loves his kids, or at least likes to make everyone really know it. And I think this is most people. I love my kids, man. Urgh. That's nothing against him, really. He's an example of that I know. And when people are that way, some of them love their kids. Some are like covering up for hating them or some shit. And I don't think that's him. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that's some of these people that are like that. I don't remember even where I got kind of distracted and I don't remember where that was going. I do that sometimes. I've been smoking and I'm playing with my Cuisinart penis chopping knife. It's a weird. Here, I look fairly decent. Oh. Yeah, there you go. The penis chopping knife. It's this one. I cut my wrist on a Cold Steel Bushman. I swear I wasn't even trying to kill myself. I like the idea of Texas too in Cuba, if for no other reason than the island thing, right? Like it would be really nice just not to have a border with other people, get to have your own secret volcano layer. We could spend more money on helicopters and less money on quads or whatever the fuck it was, the dune buggies. It would be dope. I just want to like have our own private military on our own land somewhere, form our own nation, and then have the United States like beg us to be a territory or whatever, and then be like, no, bitch, and then like like become the North Korea of America, but with no ties to anyone. Just no, we don't like you, and we like fly the Texas flag and say suck a bag of dicks. It would be great. It'd be like a hostile Cuba again. We'd be the free fucking pirate port of Cuba. That's pretty dope. Havana. Now, they might try to come take it from us. That would be a mistake. We'll have to have something in plan for that too. We need to find all of like the rich billionaires that would like to make Texas 2 happen as well, and have like a meeting on Zoom or something. I'd be like, let's all meet at the same place, but like that's how you get the FBI on you. If you have a Zoom meeting, they probably won't ever figure it out. Welcome to the FBI. What do you mean these fuckers were just using Zoom? What's Zoom? You mean to tell me that there's people that can talk to people through the internet? How are we supposed to do our job at the Female Body Inspection Agency when I can't even touch titties in real life? Mr. Chipman, this is the ATF. First off, and second off, that's not what FBI stands for. But I like your style. That's how I imagine David Chipman being. You're welcome. I think his name is David. I say a lot of first names like I know them, and like I think it's probably something I heard somewhere. I don't fucking know. It's much more mean sounding to call him by his first name. Give me a Christian name. I've been telling men on Grindr lately that I am El Raquel, El Raquel, El Razuli, the Magnificent, Sharif of Tulsa, last of the Barbary Pirates, and prophet of the one true God, Crom. It's an interesting thing to tell a man that's trying to fuck you. I do that to see what they say. You'd be like, well, doesn't that make them think you're crazy? Oh, honey, they know I'm crazy. I just like to play the game of how crazy can I be to where they are still interested. And like this is the thing when the vast majority of the men that chase you are like, I don't know, not people that I'm interested in dating. Let's put it that way. It gives you a lot of targets to fucking pick on, you know? And like as soon as you know that he's not, 6'10", hung and rich, like you can just move on to the next one. Okay. It's not on the 6'10" part. The hung and rich, those are debatable. The 6'10" part, I don't like. But that has nothing to do with tall men being the best for most women, and everything to do with me being a freakishly tall person to begin with, and feminine. And anyway, I like the idea of Texas too. I think if we do Texas 2 as Cuba, we'll need our own navy. This adds to the pirate thing. And like, I think you could recruit pretty handily for people to do this from people that were in the U.S. military in the last 20 years. Especially if you promised anyone that fucking fights or does shit to do this, a plot of land to make their own in Texas too. I think you could get a lot of people. Now, if it's fucking Cuba, it's hard to make that promise, but I don't know. If you take over all of Mexico, it's way easier to promise everybody 2 acres of desert. Like, you get 2 acres of desert and all of the shit you can steal. Welcome to the Roughnecks. It's like Rough Riders. That's like really, like, we should go do some Teddy Roosevelt shit. If they're, taking us back into the pre-World War I era of politics, which is what they're doing, okay, then, like, I think we should be Teddy Roosevelt. Like, I'd really like to go hand Putin his fucking teeth. For no other reason than the jackassery he's pulling by taking political prisoners. It's one thing to invade Ukraine and kill a bunch of Ukrainians. It's another thing to take some tall basketball bitch prisoner. What is up with that? Like, I do agree that political prisoners are bullshit, but I think it's odd that there were several taken before they hit one that the news media cared about. Do you know that? Yeah, the other 2 were white men that apparently just have no value. One of them was a Marine who just got traded back for somebody after 3 years in solitary confinement of his 9-year sentence. And that's the kind of shit that, like, I wish I was president. Like, that's what this calls for, really. This calls for war. And it's not any one thing. It's, they're just acting like they can do whatever they can do, whatever they want to do. And that's not the reality of the world. I do agree that Russia probably should own Ukraine. That's the way I see things. I get why the Ukrainians wouldn't want to be Russian, but in reality, those are 2 big gangs that live next to each other. One of those gangs needs to pack up and go home. And one of those gangs has the most nukes in the world. So I wonder which one of those needs to pack up and go home. Might makes right on occasion. And honestly, I think Putin's got a better claim to his bullshit than we've got to our bullshit, just based on looking at the last 2,000 years of fucking history. That area pretty much is Russian. Like, you can get into it, but like, the foundations of Russia came from Kiev and Rus, which is Kiev. So, like, I would argue that that is, like, not only a part of Russia's traditional territories and lands, but Russia itself. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's like you have Russians fighting Russians, bitching about shit that went on after the fucking Cold War because we made promises and shit. This is the 1990s unraveling before our eyes. All of this, we are the world, yada yada, peace, world peace bullshit, hippies and fucking in the woods, and you can be all you, and you can be queer if you like it. All of that whole culture that came out of the fucking peace, the Pax fucking Americanas that's come since we conquered the Russians, all that's ended now. And not only are we in the Cold War we were in before, but now China has gone from hating Russia and hating us to hating us considerably and thinking that Russia is at least not us. That's where Russia and China are. They hate each other's Weasley black guts. Did you know that? Like, this is the fucking geopolitical game we've been playing for the last fucking 80 years that the Biden administration just wiped our ass with and threw it away. There is literally a fucking entente power again. We will be fighting everywhere. I'm curious to see the events of this world war and what happens here. I really wonder what's going to happen to many of my friends. Basically, everyone that I'm friends with is a trigger puller between the ages of like 18 and 50. I think we're all going to die. I know that's a lovely thought to leave you on. I was trying to make this kind of a happy thing, but like at the end, this is kind of fucking, memento mori. Like, death is inevitable, glory is forever. That's my thoughts. When Roman generals would ride through the streets and shit in parades, victorious, they would be in a chariot, and behind them on the chariot, they had a small slave boy, and he was standing there saying to them, "You're mortal." Something to this effect. "You're mortal. You're going to die. Don't let this go to your head. Death is fleeting. Glory is fleeting." I don't remember the exact details of that story. No, I'll have to go look that up again. I think that's the movie Patton. If you want to know the thing that I'm talking about in exact details, it's a good quote. When you don't butcher it. I haven't watched that movie in forever. Uh, I hate being sick and smoking weed, but I hate being sick and not smoking weed worse. It's a double-edged sword. On that note, I think I shall leave you. This has been enough of Texas 2, whatever the fuck this is. Thanks for watching.